Hello and welcome to math. Today we are going to learn some multi-step equations. You can do the same steps for inequalities, right? But now we're going to do it with variables on both sides. Remember, any equations and inequalities are the same steps. We're just going to do it with equations today, but it wouldn't matter if it's an inequality or not. It'd be the same exact answer. Okay? All right. So first thing, don't forget our steps. Don't call me after midnight. So remember, don't call me after midnight. The first letter just kind of helps you remember the steps of solving an equation. And this works for like 99% of equations. The only one it doesn't work for is when they have like the big fraction bar. And we talked about that last class. And we'll keep practicing with those as well too. But remember, this don't call me after midnight will solve most equations. That should say combine, not combine. I don't know what happened there, but that should be a B, not a V. But distribute, combine like terms, move variable, add, subtract, multiply, divide. Okay, so here's an equation that's all solved for us. We're just gonna go by and show the steps so you can see this, okay? So I have this big long equation. I see it has parentheses. So my first step will have to be distribute, all right? So I got to distribute, get rid of those parentheses. So I remember I take that number on the outside of the parentheses and I'm gonna multiply it to the things on the inside of the parentheses. So I would do 4 times x gives me 4x. 4 times a negative 2 gives me a negative 8, okay? Don't forget that sign in front stays with that term, okay? I also have a 5 on my right side, so this 5 has to be multiplied to the two things on this side, this parentheses. 5 times x is 5x. 5 times a negative 4 will give me a negative 20. Don't forget about that sign in front, remember? Okay, so our first step was distribute. Okay, so my next step is C. C means combine like terms. So I'm going to look on my left side over here, and I can see that they circled this 4x and this minus 2x, because those are both like terms because they both have an x. So we can combine the 4x and the minus 2x, and 4x minus 2x will give us 2x, and that's what they got right here in red. Okay? Then I want to look to my right side and see if there's anything I can combine over there. I got 5x and I got a minus 20. These I cannot combine because they're not like terms, because this has an x as a variable, and this 20 does not have an x, so I can't combine it. So I would just bring it down. All right? So distribute, combine. My next step is move the variables to one side. Okay, so I see I have a 2x over here and I have a 5x over here. It doesn't matter which one you move. Some teachers will say move everything to the left. Some teachers will say make sure you just don't get a negative. The way they did it is they didn't get a negative. I'll show you the other way here once we're done to show you get the same answer. It doesn't matter which one you move as long as you do it correctly. Okay, so the way you do this, you look at your x. This is a positive 2x. So to get rid of that, we have to do a minus 2x. So they did minus 2x to both sides, and what happens there is 2 minus 2 gives you 0, so these get canceled out, right? And that just leaves you with negative 8 on this side. So then whatever you do to one side, whenever you do the opposite of something, you have to do the same thing to the opposite side. So 5x minus 2x gives us 3x. And then I still have that minus 20, right? So we subtracted 2x from both sides to get rid of our variables on the left side and move to the right, okay? Okay, so my next step is add or subtract, right? And I want to always do the thing that does not have a variable, right? So I have negative 8 equals 3x minus 20. So I'm going to work on this side because this is where my variable is. And I see it has a minus 20. So I'm going to do the opposite of that to get rid of it. So the opposite of a minus 20 would be a plus 20. So they did plus 20 to both sides. And the reason why they do that is because minus 20 and plus 20 would cancel out. That gives you 0. And then you do the same thing over here. Negative 8 plus 20 gives you 12. So over here, I'm just left with 3x. And on this side, now I have 12. And now I'm down to my final step, which is multiply or divide. So I have 3x here. To get x by itself, I have to divide by 3 to cancel out these 1s. Because 3 divided by 3 gives you 1. And that's what we want. We want 1x. And that's what we're left with, 1x. And then I have to do the same thing to the opposite side. 12 divided by 3 gives me 4. So I have x equals 4. All right, so I told you it doesn't matter which direction you move the variable, and I'm going to show you that right now. Let me type this up real quick. All right, so I just typed this in right here. 2x minus 8 equals 5x minus 20. It's the same thing as this step right here, okay? And I'm going to show you get the same answer, all right? So 5x, if I need to move that over, ooh, that's a crooked line, but it's okay. That's a positive 5x, so I'm going to do a minus 5x. 5x minus 5x, they will cancel out and leave me with the minus 20 here, okay? So whatever I do to one side, when I do the opposite of something, I have to do the same thing to the opposite side. So 2x minus 5x will get me negative 3x. And then I still have this minus 8. So I'm going to bring that down, that minus 8. All right, so then I would go on and keep doing my next steps, right? So my next step after move variable is add or subtract. So I would do plus 8 to both sides. And that leaves me with negative 3 equals negative 12, because negative 20 plus 8 is negative 12. And then that should be negative 3x, sorry. So then I would divide by negative 3 to get rid of those negative 3's and leave me with x. And I would do the same thing to the other side. Negative 12 divided by negative 3 equals 4. So I get the same answer. Do you guys see that? So it doesn't matter which way you move it. The way they moved it is you don't have a negative with the x. Some people like that. Some people just say, hey, move everything over to the left. It all depends on what you like. It doesn't matter. You'll get the same answer. Just choose which one you like better for yourself, and you'll be fine. Okay, so let's go on and let's do a couple together. Okay, so the first thing I always do when I solve an equation is I write DC ma'am down the side. Don't call me after midnight, so that way I can remember my steps. And my first step here is D, so I gotta see if I can distribute anything. And I see this parentheses, so whenever there's parentheses, I have to distribute. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pick a line here down my equal sign. I'm gonna take this 3 and multiply it to do these two things. 3 times m is 3m, and then 3 times a negative 10, remember that sign in front, 3 times a negative 10 is a negative 30, so I put minus 30. And then on this side, there's nothing to distribute, so I just bring down my negative 2m. All right, and then I'm done with my distribute. So my next step is combine like terms. So I look on my left, there's nothing to combine over here, it's just negative 2m. On my right side, I can't combine these two things because this has an m and this doesn't have an m. So I'm done with my combine like terms. I go to my next step, which is move my variable. Okay, so for this one, you can move the negative 2 over, but it makes more sense to me to move this 3m over here. That way all my variables will be on one side and all my regular numbers, my constants, will be on the other side. And that's really what we're trying to do here when we're solving an equation. So this is a positive 3m, so I would do a minus 3m to get rid of these 3m's and leave me with just minus 30 on this side. Whatever I do to one side, whenever I do the opposite of something, I have to do the same thing on the other side, on the opposite side. So what's negative 2m minus 3m? Well, that's negative 5m. So now I'm left with negative 5m equals negative 30, and I'm done with moving my variable. All right, my next step is add or subtract, right? Add or subtract. There is no add or subtract because I'm just left with negative 5m minus 30, so I'm done there. My last step is multiply or divide. Negative 5m means negative 5 times m, so I'm going to divide by negative 5 to leave me with just m on this side. And I'm going to do the same thing to this side. Negative 30 divided by negative 5 would get me a positive 6, and that's my answer. My answer is m equals 6. Okay? All right, I told you guys the best thing about equations is you can check your work, right? So I'm going to type in my left side of my equation. I see negative 2, and instead of m, I'm going to plug in 6 with parentheses. Now, my next line, I'm going to plug in my right side. So I'm going to put 3 parentheses, but instead of m, I'm going to plug in 6, and then minus 10, close parentheses. And you see how these two equal each other? They equal each other, and that's what we wanted to do. We wanted to equal each other. This side I said equal that side, so we know we got this one right. Okay? All right, let's try this one here in the middle. First step, I think I always do. Don't call me after midnight. Write that down every time. It'll help you out a lot, okay? First step, distribute. So I got to see, are there parentheses? And there are. There's parentheses right over here. So I'm going to take this negative 8. Remember that sign in front? Negative 8. And I'm going to multiply it to both things on the inside. So negative 8 times 4 would be negative 32. And that 4 has an x. So I'm going to bring an x with it. So negative 32x. Negative 8 times 5 would be a negative 40. There's no other distributes, so I can just bring everything else down. I've got the negative 4x, and on this side, there's no distribute, so I can just bring this down. Negative 7 minus 3x. And I'm done with my distribute. I can cross that one off. My next step is combine like terms, all right? So I look to my left side. Can I combine anything over here? I can't, because this negative 7 and this is negative 3x. They don't have the same variables. On my right side, though, I can combine this negative 4x and this minus 32x, because they're both x's. Negative 4 minus 32 would be negative 36. So I got negative 36x. This minus 40, I can't combine with anything, so I'm just going to bring down. And I'm done on this side. And on this side, I can't combine anything, so I'm just going to bring this down. Minus 7 minus 3x. And I'm done with my combine like terms. Okay, my next step is move my variable, right? I'm going to move my variables to one side. I'm going to move this minus 36 over to the left-hand side because a negative 3, and I know I have to do a plus 36 here, that's going to give me a positive number. And I kind of prefer to have my variables on the left-hand side anyways. But remember, you could do the opposite and you'll still get the same answer. Doesn't matter, okay? But I'm going to do a plus 36 because this is a negative 36, and that's going to cancel these out and leave me with just minus 40 on this side. And then I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'm going to add 36x to this side. That's going to leave me with negative 7. Negative 3 plus 36 would be a positive 33x. That's an ugly looking 33. Let me rewrite that. Positive 33x. Okay? All right, so let me move that line down further. We still separated here. All right, so now my next step, I'm done with my move my variable. My next step is add or subtract. So I always do the number without the variable. So I see it's a minus 7, so I'm going to do a plus 7. Plus 7. That's going to cancel these out and leave me with 33x. Negative 40 plus 7 is negative 33. And then my final step is divide. So I'm going to divide by 33 to get x by itself. And I'm left with x equals negative 1. And that's my final answer. Can't do anything else. That's my answer. X equals negative 1. All right, let's check our work, see if we got it right. Okay, so my left side is negative 7 minus 3, and then it says x. So instead of x, I'm going to put in negative 1. And then on my right side, I got negative 4, and then it says x, but instead of x, I'm going to plug in negative 1. Remember, substitute with parentheses. And then minus 8, and then parentheses 4, and then I have another x. So I'm going to put parentheses, negative 1, close parentheses, and then plus 5. And close my big parentheses. And you see that these two equal each other, and that's what we want. We want them to equal each other, so we know we got this right. X equals negative 1 is the correct answer. All right, so we got one more last one on our notes here. We have this one on the bottom right. Go ahead, pause the video, see if you can do this one on your own. See if you can do it, all right? Don't forget, don't call me after midnight, all right? Pause the video, try it on your own. Unpause it when you're done to check your work. Okay, so hopefully you pause the video, hopefully you did your work, and hopefully you got something like this, okay? So first thing I did was I distributed it. Negative 5 times 5x is negative 25x. Negative 5 times a minus 6 gives me a positive 30. And then I brought everything else down. So that was done my distribute. Then I combined my like terms. I combined this negative 25x and this minus 8x, and I got negative 33x. So I got negative 33x plus 30, and there was nothing to combine on my right side. So I just brought it down. My next step was move my variable. I decided to move over the minus 6x. So I did, instead of minus 6x, I did plus 6x to cancel those out. Negative 3x plus 6x gives me negative 27x. So now I'm left with negative 27x plus 30 equals 30. So my next step is add or subtract. So I did minus 30 to get rid of these 30s. 30 minus 30 on this side gives me 0. And then I divided it by negative 27. Well, 0 divided by anything is 0. So 0 divided by negative 27 is 0, and I get x equals 0. And then I can check my work to see if I got this correct. I plug in my left side. I have negative 5, parentheses 5, and then x. I'm going to plug in 0, minus 6, close my parentheses. I'm going to do the same thing on the right side. I got 30 minus 6, parentheses 0 instead of the x. And I got 30 for both of them, so I know I got this right. Okay? So that's how you solve multi-step equations when there's variables on both sides. All you're trying to do is the same steps. Don't call me after midnight. And then if you have variables on both sides, you do the opposite of what it is to move it over. If it's a minus 6x, you do a plus 6x. If it's a minus 36x, you do a plus 36x. If it's a positive 3m, you do a minus 3m. That's the opposite. Always do the opposite to move it to the opposite side. Okay? And then you get your answer. And remember, you can always check your work with equations. It's the best thing about equations is you can tell if you got it right away. You just plug it into the calculator. Just remember, always substitute with parentheses. Okay? All right, so that's how you solve multi-step equations. If you have a question, please ask your teacher, and I'll catch you next time. Bye!